Heads up. Success doesn't start with opportunity, luck, or talent. It starts with responsibility. The moment you stop blaming other people, the economy, your upbringing, or your past for where you are, that's the moment your true power begins to rise. Responsibility means you take ownership of your life. Every result, every mistake, every delay, and every victory. When you point fingers outward, you surrender control. But when you point the finger inward and say, "It's up to me," you take back your power to change. Too many people wait for the perfect time, the right connections, or someone to rescue them from their situation. But life doesn't reward excuses. It rewards accountability. The person who says, "If it's to be, it's up to me," becomes unstoppable. They understand that no one is coming to fix things for them. They are the captain of their own ship, and whether the sea is calm or stormy, they steer it forward with courage. Taking full responsibility doesn't mean you're at fault for everything that happens. It means you accept that you control your response. You can't always choose what happens, but you can always choose how you react. And that choice makes all the difference. The difference between a victim and a victor is perspective. A victim says, "Life is unfair." A victor says, "Life is my training ground." Every difficulty becomes a chance to prove your strength, to refine your thinking, to grow in wisdom and patience. When you live with responsibility, you no longer wait for permission to act. You stop saying, "I can't," and start saying, "How can I?" You begin to see possibilities where others see problems. Responsibility turns obstacles into opportunities, failures into lessons, and ordinary people into leaders. So ask yourself today, are you blaming or are you building? Are you waiting or are you working? The moment you decide that your future depends on your actions, not on luck, not on others, not on fate, that's the day you begin to shape your destiny. Responsibility is not a burden, it's a gift. It's the key that unlocks freedom, growth, and every level of success that waits for you. Motivation is the spark that lights the fire, but discipline is the wood that keeps it burning. Anyone can feel excited for a moment, but it's what you do after the excitement fades that defines your future. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. It's the quiet force that turns goals into habits and habits into results. The truly successful don't rely on moods or inspiration. They rely on commitment. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like it. It's waking up early when your bed feels warm. It's working on your dream when no one's watching. It's saying no to distractions, temptations, and excuses. The average person works when they feel inspired. The disciplined person works because they made a decision, and that decision, repeated daily, separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Think about it. Anyone can start a new habit, a project, or a goal. The real challenge is to stay consistent when the thrill wears off. That's where discipline steps in. It doesn't ask how you feel. It reminds you what you promised yourself. Discipline is self-respect in action, proof that your word means something. Every great achievement, whether in business, health, or life, is built on this principle. The athlete doesn't win because they're motivated every morning. They win because they trained every morning, even on the days their body said no. The writer finishes the book, not because inspiration struck every day, but because they sat down and wrote anyway. When you learn to value discipline, you gain freedom. Freedom from laziness, inconsistency, and regret. It may feel tough in the moment, but it saves you from the pain of unfulfilled potential later. Motivation makes you feel good today, but discipline makes you proud tomorrow. So stop waiting for the perfect time or perfect feeling. The truth is, those who succeed act before they feel ready. They understand that consistency creates momentum, and momentum creates miracles. Remember this, motivation might open the door, but discipline is what keeps you walking through it every single day until success has no choice but to show up. 3. You learn every day. The most successful people never stop learning. They understand that knowledge is not a destination, it's a journey. The moment you think you know it all, you close the door to growth. But the moment you say, I can learn something from this, life starts opening its treasures to you. A curious mind is a growing mind, and a growing mind is a successful one. Learning every day doesn't mean sitting in a classroom or earning another certificate. It means developing the habit of curiosity. You read to expand your understanding. You listen to others, not to reply, but to learn. You observe life, people, nature, and patterns around you because wisdom hides in plain sight. Every experience, good or bad, has something to teach if you're humble enough to ask, what can I learn from this? The successful mind knows that ignorance costs more than education. A mistake repeated because you refuse to learn is far more expensive than the time spent studying, reading, or reflecting. That's why learners grow while complainers stay stuck. Learners use failure as feedback. They see every challenge as a lesson in disguise, every criticism as a tool for refinement. In this fast-changing world, learning isn't optional, it's survival. Those who adapt grow. Those who resist fall behind. The successful person reads a few pages while others scroll endlessly. They invest in learning new skills while others waste time chasing entertainment. Over time, these small, daily acts of learning build an edge so sharp that success becomes inevitable. And here's the secret. Learning doesn't just add knowledge, it adds value. The more you learn, the more valuable you become to others, to your work, and to your future. Knowledge creates confidence, confidence creates action, and action creates results. So, make learning your daily ritual. Read something that challenges your thinking. Listen to voices wiser than yours. Reflect on your day before you sleep. Because every day you learn, you get a little wiser, a little stronger, a little more prepared for the opportunities that life is sending your way. The truly successful never stop being students, because they know the day you stop learning is the day you stop growing, and the day you stop growing is the day you stop succeeding. You choose associations carefully. The people you spend time with shape the person you become. Whether you realize it or not, your circle is either lifting you higher or quietly pulling you down. That's why it's been said, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. You rise or you fall to the level of the company you keep. If you surround yourself with people who complain, doubt, or settle for average, their mindset will slowly infect yours. Negativity is contagious, but so is excellence. The successful understand this truth and choose their associations with purpose. They don't spend time around those who feed their comfort. They seek those who stretch their thinking, sharpen their discipline, and inspire their growth. Your environment is stronger than your willpower. Even the most determined person can lose momentum if surrounded by the wrong voices. That's why successful individuals build a circle that keeps them accountable. They look for people who tell them the truth, not just what they want to hear. They value mentors who challenge their excuses and friends who encourage their progress. Think of iron sharpening iron. That's what a strong circle does. The right people remind you of your potential when you forget it. They celebrate your wins, but they also call you out when you start drifting. And when you're around people who are growing, their energy becomes your motivation. Choosing associations carefully doesn't mean you become arrogant or distant. It means you become intentional. You can still love everyone, but you don't have to let everyone influence you. There's a difference between compassion and connection. You can care for people without letting them shape your mindset. If you want to know where your life is headed, look closely at the 5 people you spend the most time with. Are they inspiring you to become better? Or are they keeping you comfortable where you are? Success is rarely a solo act. It's a team effort. Choose teammates who believe in excellence, in integrity, in progress. Because in the end, you don't just build your future, you inherit it from the people you walk with. Surround yourself with winners, thinkers, dreamers, and doers. And soon, you'll find yourself becoming one of them. You turn setbacks into lessons. Every successful person has one thing in common. They've failed, not once, but many times. The difference is they didn't let failure define them. They let it refine them. When something goes wrong, the average person quits. The successful one asks, "What can I learn from this?" That single question transforms defeat into wisdom. Setbacks are not signs to stop. They're signals to adjust. They reveal what works and what doesn't. Each mistake, each disappointment, each delay is a hidden classroom, teaching lessons no book or seminar ever could. When you start seeing failure as feedback instead of final judgment, your entire life begins to change. You stop fearing mistakes because you realize they're not the end of the road. They're simply part of the route. Think about it. No champion ever rose without falling first. The inventor learns from the failed design. The entrepreneur learns from the lost deal. The leader learns from the wrong decision. Every loss carries a seed of growth, if only you're willing to look for it. What separates those who succeed from those who give up isn't luck. It's how they interpret their setbacks. The successful don't say, "Why me?" They say, "Try me." When life knocks them down, they rise with more wisdom, more strength, and more clarity. Failure doesn't break them. It builds them. Like fire purifying gold, adversity burns away weakness and brings out character. The lesson might hurt, but the growth it brings is priceless. So when things don't go your way, resist the urge to blame or quit. Sit with the lesson. Ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? How can I come back stronger? Because every challenge carries within it the tools for your next success. The one who learns fastest wins longest. Remember, the road to success is paved with failures, but each one moves you closer to mastery. Every disappointment becomes education. Every mistake becomes momentum. Every failure becomes fertilizer for your next victory. When you learn to turn your setbacks into lessons, life stops defeating you and starts developing you. That's when you stop surviving and start evolving. H3, strong. 6, you keep promises to yourself. 6 point. Keeping promises to yourself is one of the most powerful habits of truly successful people. It's not about impressing others. It's about building trust with the person who matters most. You. Each time you say you'll do something and you follow through, you strengthen your confidence, your discipline, and your character. Every kept promise is a quiet message to your mind that says, I can rely on myself. Most people break promises to themselves and don't even realize the damage it causes. Every time you say you'll start tomorrow, and you don't, your mind remembers. Every time you quit halfway, your confidence fades a little more. Soon, you begin to doubt your own word. But when you do what you say, even in small ways, you rebuild that inner trust, brick by brick. Success isn't about one grand decision. It's about 1,000 small choices done consistently. Waking up when you said you would. Finishing the workout you promised yourself. Showing up to study, work, or create when no one's checking. Those quiet acts of integrity compound into something extraordinary. Because discipline is not built in the spotlight. It's built in silence. Keeping promises to yourself creates internal alignment. Your thoughts, words, and actions begin to move in the same direction. That alignment gives you confidence, not the loud, temporary kind, but the deep, unshakable kind. You start to walk differently, think differently, and attract different results because you trust yourself to follow through. It's easy to keep promises when others are watching. The real test is what you do when no one is. True success is private long before it becomes public. It's forged in moments of quiet discipline, when you push through laziness, doubt, and distraction. So, if you want to build a life that commands respect, start by keeping the small promises. Write them down. Do them daily. Protect your word as if it were gold. Because in the end, your life is the sum of the promises you've kept or broken with yourself. Remember, every time you keep your word, you grow stronger. Every time you honor your own commitment, you move closer to the person you were meant to be. And that, more than anything else, is the foundation of true success. You value time as your greatest asset. Time is the one resource every human being is given equally, yet it's the one most often wasted. Money lost can be earned again, but time spent is gone forever. The successful understand this truth deeply. They treat every hour as an investment, not an expense. They know that each day is a piece of their destiny, a small but precious fragment of the life they're building. Once it's gone, it never returns. Unsuccessful people often act as if they have forever. They drift through their days, reacting instead of planning, scrolling instead of building, waiting instead of moving. They trade hours for comfort, unaware that they're spending their most valuable currency. The successful, however, see time as sacred. They guard it carefully. They wake with intention and use their hours like a craftsman uses tools, purposefully, skillfully, efficiently. Valuing time doesn't mean working endlessly. It means being intentional. It's knowing when to focus, when to rest, when to say yes, and when to say no. Successful people understand that saying yes to one thing means saying no to something else. That's why they fill their schedules with purpose, not noise. They design their days around priorities, not distractions. Every minute you waste is a minute your dream gets delayed. Every minute you invest wisely, in learning, in planning, in action, brings your vision closer. Time is like a bank account that resets every morning. You're given 86,400 seconds each day. And the moment the clock strikes midnight, the balance clears. What you did with it determines what you're becoming. Think of time as your life's mirror. How you spend it reflects what you value. If you spend it chasing distractions, your life will be scattered. If you spend it building yourself, your life will become stronger, clearer, more meaningful. So take time seriously. Schedule your growth, your work, your rest. Use time as a servant, not a master. Because while the clock is ticking for everyone, not everyone uses it wisely. The difference between a wandering life and a winning life often comes down to how you manage your hours. Remember this truth. You don't find time, you make it. You don't control the clock, you control your choices. And when you begin to value every moment, your life begins to multiply in meaning, success, and purpose. You think long-term, act short-term. The most successful people see life through two lenses, one for the future and one for today. They dream in years, but work in hours. They hold a grand vision of where they're going, yet they know that vision is built one small, faithful action at a time. Big goals inspire them, but daily habits define them. They understand that success is not created in leaps. It's created in layers. Thinking long-term gives your life direction. Acting short-term gives it progress. You need both. The dream without the daily effort is only fantasy. The action without a clear goal is wasted motion. When you combine vision and consistency, you create unstoppable momentum. The successful know that every meaningful achievement, whether it's building a business, mastering a skill, or changing a life, is the result of thousands of unseen hours of steady work. Impatience destroys more dreams than failure ever could. Many people quit because they expect results overnight. They plant seeds today and get discouraged when there's no harvest tomorrow. But the successful treat life like a farmer treats the field. They sow, water, and nurture daily, trusting that time will bring the reward. They know the process may be slow, but it's never wasted. Thinking long-term also protects you from emotional decisions. You stop chasing instant gratification and start pursuing lasting fulfillment. You realize that temporary comfort often costs permanent growth. So instead of asking, "What feels good now?" you begin to ask, "What will serve me best later?" That shift in thinking separates the dreamers from the doers. And yet, long-term vision means nothing without short-term discipline. The dream must show up in today's calendar. Every small act, reading one chapter, saving $1, making one call, practicing 1 hour, is a building block of the future you desire. When you do this daily, your habits take over and success becomes inevitable. Remember, the greatest achievements in history were not sudden explosions of genius. They were slow, consistent efforts carried out over years. So dream big. See the mountaintop clearly. But keep your feet moving, one step at a time. Because success doesn't come to those who only plan for the future. It comes to those who work for it today. Strong. 9. You practice gratitude and humility. Gratitude and humility are two of the greatest anchors of true success. They keep you grounded when life elevates you and strengthen you when life tests you. Gratitude reminds you how far you've come, and humility reminds you how much further you can go. Together, they protect you from the arrogance that blinds and the discouragement that breaks. Gratitude is more than saying thank you. It's a mindset. a way of seeing life. It's choosing to focus on what's right instead of what's missing. When you live with gratitude, even small blessings feel big. You stop taking ordinary moments for granted. The opportunities, the people, the lessons, even the challenges. Because gratitude doesn't just make you happier, it makes you wiser. It shifts your focus from complaining about what you lack to appreciating what you have and using it well. The truly successful understand that success isn't owned, it's rented, and the rent is due every day in the form of gratitude. They never forget the people who helped them, the struggles that strengthened them, or the grace that guided them. Gratitude keeps their hearts soft, their minds open, and their vision clear. But gratitude alone isn't enough. Humility must walk beside it. Humility doesn't mean thinking less of yourself. It means thinking of yourself less. It's staying teachable even when you've achieved much. It's recognizing that there's always more to learn, more to give, and more ways to grow. The moment you think you've arrived, your progress stops. Pride freezes growth. Humility fuels it. Humility allows you to accept feedback without offense, to listen without defending, to lead without boasting. It keeps you focused on purpose rather than position, on contribution rather than competition. The humble person doesn't chase applause, they chase improvement. And because of that, success continues to find them. When you live with gratitude and humility, doors open that pride could never unlock. People trust you, opportunities multiply, and life rewards you in ways ego never could. So stay thankful, stay teachable, celebrate how far you've come, but never stop reaching higher. Gratitude will fill your heart. Humility will lift your character. Together, they'll keep you balanced on your climb to the top, and they'll ensure that when you get there, you deserve to stay. Real success isn't about chasing more. It's about becoming more. It's not measured by what you earn, but by what you contribute. The truly successful live with purpose, not pressure. They wake up each morning driven by meaning, not by the demands of the world. They don't ask, "What can I get today?" but, "How can I grow, serve, and make a difference?" That's the mindset that separates fulfillment from frustration. When you live by purpose, every action has direction. You stop running in circles, trying to meet everyone's expectations. Instead, you move forward with clarity, guided by your values and your vision. Purpose gives you a reason to rise early and push through hard days because you know your effort matters. It transforms ordinary work into meaningful service. Pressure, on the other hand, is a thief. It steals your peace, clouds your judgment, and makes you chase results for the wrong reasons. It comes from trying to please others, to prove your worth, or to keep up with the noise of the world. But when your motivation shifts from external pressure to internal purpose, everything changes. You stop competing and start creating. You stop forcing outcomes and start flowing with intention. Purpose gives power to perseverance. When you know why you're doing something, you can endure almost anything. Money may give comfort, but purpose gives strength. It's what keeps the athlete training after losses, the entrepreneur building after setbacks, the teacher inspiring even when unseen. Purpose turns obstacles into stepping stones because it reminds you that your mission is bigger than your mood. Living by purpose also keeps your success balanced. You understand that achievement without meaning is empty, like climbing a ladder only to realize it's leaning against the wrong wall. So, you define success not by what you own, but by the lives you touch and the legacy you leave. When you live this way, peace replaces pressure. Every day becomes a gift, every task an opportunity, and every challenge a lesson. You no longer chase success, you attract it by aligning with what truly matters. So ask yourself each morning, why am I doing this? If the answer connects to purpose, you're walking the right path, one that leads not just to success, but to significance.